Hello, this is Alvaro5, and what I will show today is a what I was able to uncover the cause of a known issue in Bug Fable, where what would happen is instead of having a music play from its start, it would start to play from the middle. And I remember specifically I ran into this myself when I don't have the thing. When I was walking over to that table and triggered the Wasking fight, I think it was after. I don't remember the circumstances of how it happened, but hopefully it will make it more clear after I go into this. Um, I remember the song that was playing, which I think is called Usurper, although the internal name is Tension 3. It started to play from the middle. And I spent a while to try to figure out why it was doing this because I kept checking the music code, like how the game was switching music, how it was looping them. Like I kept checking everywhere, and I could not find a way to break it until I check the logic of a specific setting, and it has to do with this one right there. Music after battle, how it's supposed to work. The default is resume, but you can set it to restart. If you set it to resume, what should normally happen is if you go into an overworld fight and then you get out of it, either to any means except reloading the save. Um, if you get out of it by either winning or fleeing, it will start to play the song that it was playing at the point that you started the battle. So it just goes back to where it was interrupted when you started the battle. And restart, I mean, it doesn't do that. It just goes back to the start, and that's it. Now, the default is this, and it turns out this is what allows the issue that I'm going to explain happen. Now, the reason I'm doing a video and I have a whole logging window with Unity Explorer is because this issue turned out to be incredibly complicated and specific and hard to explain chronologically without me doing some finagling. So what I did is I made a custom build of the game's assembly to add more. The only thing I did is I added logging. So it adds logging about switching music and when it resumes it. That's basically it. So this is why you see a log window, because you're going to be able to see things that you normally wouldn't be able to, and it makes it much easier for me to explain. Just as I know, as you read this, things are going to be in reverse chronological order. So as things happen, they will get pushed down. So if you want the chronological order, you read from bottom to top, and new things appears on the top. So, first of all, let me show what a normal music switch should be doing. Currently, well, there's nothing playing. So in my log, I call it silence. So right now there's nothing playing. So you will see a switch from silence to the internal name of that one is invasion. So there we go. So changing music to invasion, and then I put the original music that was playing and its time. Nothing was playing, so there's no time. It's at 0 seconds. Like there's nothing. And there's an important bit right there. Because silence is different than invasion, it it causes the game to actually switch the song. And in that part, that's where the issue would happen. Because if it was the same, it basically wouldn't change the music. Like it would attempt to, but it would just stay. It would just realize we the game is already playing this song, so it's not gonna switch it because there is nothing to switch. And after that, I put the time. Now notice here that it starts playing at 0 seconds. That's what normally should happen. Except if you go back from a fight in the overworld and you have that setting set to resume, it should always start at 0 seconds, because if you have that setting on and you go back from a fight, well, it wouldn't start at 0, it would start from whatever it was when it started it. But there is a specific way to manipulate this and to make it resume not from the start, at a different music. And for that to happen, you need two things. Well, three things. First, you need to start a fight. Second, that fight must not be part of a cutscene. Because if it's part of a cutscene, no, what happens is it would fade to silence, and it won't even do the resume thing, because it doesn't need to. The cutscene already controls the music. It doesn't need to do that. So it needs to not be from a cutscene. And you need to be on a map which has the setting which is configured such that when you go into a battle, the music won't switch. So normally battles have their own battle music. But in Giant Slayer, and this incidentally applies only to the maps in Giant Slayer, I checked all the maps. When you start a fight, the music does not change because the maps are configured like so. And I checked all the maps, and only the Giant Slayer one had that configuration in place. So this is why this issue is extremely specific, because to reproduce it, you need to start a fight at Giant Slayer that's not part of a cutscene. It has to involve this specific circumstances. Because if it was a fight outside of Giant Slayer, the music will resume, and it's a one-time thing. Once the next music plays, it resumes at the point that you left off in the battle, and that's it. But what if it changes to this? It tries to change to the same music. It's not gonna do anything special. So let me do it. So I can start the fight right there, and I'll flee from it because I don't need to win it. I just need to flee. The specific thing is you need to go back to the overworld without reloading the save, because if you reload the save, it resets everything. Oh god, I forgot to turn on. Okay, whatever. I forgot to turn on the save because sometimes I do miss it. Doesn't matter. I just need to get out of it. There we go. Okay. By the way, ignore the yellow log lines. They're not related, and it's just the game doing other weird things. Don't worry about it. So here's the important thing that just happened here. So we were on invasion because we switched to it earlier. Then when I started the fight, you didn't see it in the log because I didn't put it, but it saved the time that the next music should be resuming, because it thinks that it needs to be resumed when you come out of it. The thing is, because the music was still playing, it obviously doesn't want to go back in it. It's still playing. Like, it wouldn't make much sense to make it seek backwards. So because of this, it set the value, it's changing to it, but because it is the same, nothing really happened. So the change music basically didn't do anything. What did something, however, is coming out of the battle, because now the timestamp that it wants to read, the next music that will play, will start playing at that timestamp. Now, I don't know what it was on top of my head because I wasn't paying attention. It was in the middle of it. Depending on what it is, we're gonna see and maybe hear something different in the logs. So for now, what I'll do is I'll go back to trigger the Waltz King event, because when at the start of that event, it will play a song called internally it's Tension 3, which is not Invasion. Those two are different songs. So now it's switched to silence. However, this doesn't matter. It's specifically the next non-silence music that plays that will be affected. So the fact that it switched to silence, we don't care about it. It will switch from silence to a music, to Tension 3 when I start this. Now, depending on what will happen, you'll either see an error in the log and you wouldn't hear anything weird, or you'll see something strange in the log but hear something weird. So pay attention to the audio here. Okay, there we go. So the audio was fine, but as you saw right there, there was an error. This is because when it tried to play the song, it tried, in fact you see it right there, I logged it right there. Like, changing to Tension 3, it was on silence, and it is different, but see right there, resuming music from last battle at 57 seconds. That timestamp is past the end of the audio clip of Tension 3. Because of this, you see an error, because you're not supposed to do that. However, the fact that you even see this line means that the game tried to go there. It's just that Unity is handling it gracefully by simply not doing anything. So, if you didn't have this log, you wouldn't know that something bad happened there. But that doesn't... nothing prevents me from trying it again, but this time with a value that makes sense for Tension 3, and that's where you start to hear something weird. So I'll just die on this one, and I can there's nothing I can do. I have to reload the save and try again. So you'll have to forgive me a bit for having to spend some time here, but I have to retry the setup. Wait, why am I blocking? I need to die here. I'm so used to resetting fight. I got used to do them very fast like this. I could set my HP to 1 so that it goes faster, but I don't think so. I think I died this time. Yes, okay. Okay, after I reload this, I'll clear the log so that it's less cluttered. There we go. Okay, let's try again, but this time I won't wait as long for the music, so... Let's see. I'm hearing it right now. Just wait a little bit. Okay, this must be at like 10 or 15 seconds. This should be plenty. Okay, and now I flee again. This is why I normally put flee, because obviously when I'm recording I have to do mistakes like this. Okay. There we go. Okay. So same deal. However, you'll see in the log and hear something different this time. Because now I'm very sure that this won't do the error this time. So pay close attention to the audio here. You noticed it, right? It didn't start at the start. In fact, it's near the end. It's right in the middle of it. And in the log, you didn't see an error. You saw that it was resuming the music, and it just did it. So it actually skipped around 17 seconds of the song. So that's what the issue is. So it's incredibly specific. To reproduce, and by the way, I did it for this cutscene, but it doesn't actually matter what music and what circumstances you play it. You could be using the Ant Compass, for example, and the Ant Mine song would get messed up for the same reason. It's just it only applies to the next music that's playing. But to reproduce, your music after battle needs to be set to resume. Then you have to start a Giant Slayer that is not part of a cutscene. There's only 3 on top of my head that it excludes. So it excludes the Deadlander Trio fight in front of the fridge, the Deadlander Trio fight with Roar's Quest, and the Trio Construct fight at the Oven map. Those are the only 3 where you wouldn't see this issue happen. Any other fight, you would, however. So, because of this, you can manipulate the Resume After Battles feature such that it tries to resume the music that is different than the one you entered the battle with. And because Giant Slayer are the only map that have this thing where they don't change the music when you enter the battle, when you get out of it, the game tries to switch to the same music, but then it realizes it's the same music, so there's nothing to switch, so you don't have that feature used right away. But it will still get used, potentially on an unrelated music like what it just did. And that's the end of it, so hopefully you found that interesting. This was certainly a fun one to uncover, and that will be it from me.